Hi, today we are looking at NYX issue 4, written by the actual hive mind Collin Kelly and Jackson Lanzing, drawn by Enid Balám, and colored by Raúl Angulo. Full spoilers ahead, so you're forewarned. While last issue gave me chills, this issue got me by dissecting and looking at the mutant-humans relationship in the 616 universe in a way no one had possibly ever done. There's quite a lot to unpack, even on one read, and I'm sure my future self have a lot more to say. Hi, future Tyler here. The notes of Professor Elena as he tried to define mutant culture is the one big reason this title is quite unlike any others in this era. I feel like while it is written as an exploration of mutant culture, it is also a not too subtle commentary on X-Men and X-Comics in general. So let's break them down into chunks. Mutant culture rooted in repeated, ongoing, and systemic violence. Ever since Claremont went in the darker direction, say post God Loves Man Kills, X-books have been stuck in this cycle of misery, right? From Mutant Massacre to Decimation to even Age of X-Men. Like attempts to get past that were not always successful, like the Australian Outback era, which some fans hated, but I loved, which is why Krakoa is such a breath of fresh air. It always amazes me that there are fans out there that do not like Krakoa just based on the premise. To be fair though, Krakoa, notwithstanding Fall of X, did not really escape that cycle of systemic violence, which Professor Elena pointed out. If it is not humans versus mutants, it is mutants versus mutants. But, Krakoa did explore a third way of common existence via separation. It is not a Professor X is right, which is integrate, versus Magneto is right, which is dominate, though even that simple assignment of Xavier and Max had flip-flopped multiple times over the years. Which brings us to the proposed mutant housing. Um, on the surface, that looks like a hey, we are giving you your own space. But a forced segregation wrapped in pretty words does not change anything. How is this different from mutants moving to Krakoa or Utopia, or even to the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters? Um, the difference is that those places were not mandated by non-mutants, especially not Krakoa or the school. Granted, that is just one panel in this issue, and we do not know the details, but I think the implication is pretty clear to me. So, regarding human mutants relationship meant humans will always fear and hate mutants, I reject that notion because, as in all things, it should not be that absolute. Though Professor Elena made a very good argument regarding one aspect of the relationship, in that it is never good enough, regardless of what mutants do or do not do. Now, possibly the only thing that I absolutely disagree with Prodigy is that mutant culture is the X-Men. What does that even mean? That is the one part that took me a while to get. I think there is a delineation between Professor Elena and Prodigy. As an academic, his views are more balanced and often phrased in the form of a question to invite discussion and critical thinking. As Prodigy, he has a view. He's totally wrong, but he is one of the Academy X kids. He believed in the dream and in the X-Men. That is the divide. Maybe I'm reaching because I really like this title, but I strongly feel that it is the case here. So switching gears a little bit, Sophie having genuine friendship with Kamala is not too much of a surprise. we suspected that it might have started off as non-genuine, though we got the reason wrong as to why that is. But Kamala figuring it out and still not angry with Sophie, that is something that wasn't expected. It would be so easy to go the route of her feeling betrayed, but I think the way she reacted is consistent with her character. Also consistent is Kamala figuring out who the Krakoan is, with a little help with Sophie, and realizing that it is a trap to lure her into a very public confrontation. She tried to defuse it by seeking some help from Prodigy, but and that is really smart of her. But well, anyway, I really like the back and forth between the cuckoos. It is funny, it is sarcastic, and totally accurate. And all that dissection, by Professor Elnay played out as the so-called Quiet Council, the Cuckoos, the Krakoan, and Empath moved to put their plans in place, which, apparently involve assassination of government officials and plotting to take over Manhattan Island, among other things. The true motive and scope of the plan, if there is one, has yet to be fully revealed. And to kind of bring everything sort of full circle, when Professor Alanese was talking about Magneto, Julian not only pretended to be Max, but he also uttered that line in House of X issue 1, "You have new gods." There is a great callback to the Red Triangle Protocol. The fight between Prodigy and the Krakoan was surprisingly swift, which I chalk up to Julian being overconfident. There is also a slight hint of Cuckoos perhaps secretly in control, like we theorized when we discussed issue 1, and it appears that the mutant prison is not as clandestine as we thought. Maybe Prodigy knows something that Fury Jr. did not. It could be that only the Professor X kidnapping part is clandestine, but not the prison itself. Or it could be that the operations within the prison is clandestine. I really like Balam's art. It is not at all like Motarino's, yet at the same time retains some of the same qualities that I enjoyed in Motarino's art. Specifically, there were tons of like varied background characters, and the buildings and background details are very recognizably New York City, such as sidewalk scaffolding or like a crane sitting atop of a high-rise being constructed. While certain elements of the art are very different, there are some elements that retained consistency across the two artists. Prodigy's graffitis look consistent, and the flare from street lamps are very similarly stylized, if not exactly the same. And also, there are some odd strands of hair like framing Kamala's face. Expressions are very well drawn, though just maybe a touch less expressive as Motarino's, and the art is also, slightly less finished looking, though there is a lot of movement conveyed in the art. Especially when you look at the fight scenes, such as the panel where it is actually really four panels overlapping, between of the fight between Prodigy and the Krakoan. If I have to nitpick, it would be that one of the panels of the Cuckoo's talking, I think the word balloons should have been thought bubbles. Actually, I think it is right that they are speaking out loud and not sharing thoughts. That conversation was intended to leave Sophie out, which I assume, if it is done telepathically, would have included her. I love seeing some of the images of Krakoa on Prodigy's screen. The gates and what I assume is the Quiet Council. Everyone expresses their grief and longing differently. Prodigy does it by painting graffiti and playing 10-hour videos of Krakoa on his computer screen. Also, like Welcome to Die. I mean, that is Magneto from the arcade game in the early 90s. Truthfully though, I do not remember the game nor the quote, but Kamala's deep cut and arcade comment made me Google for it. So in conclusion, this still ranks really high up for me. I mean, unless I'm completely off base regarding the mutant culture is the X-Men bit, um, it is a 4.5 out of 5 for me. I love the dissection of the mutant-human relationship in the 616 universe, and I love the characters' voices. I agree. So definitely get a copy of this and read it, and maybe get an extra copy to share with a friend who is still not on board with this title. If you enjoy this video, please leave us a like and subscribe to our little channel, which as of this recording is just 5 short of 3 digits. Please share with your friends and comment below. Thanks, and Tyler out.